Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Albans Property Meet, February 2026. Got the host, Richard, here. Richard.
Hey Z, how you doing?
I'm
Good to
all right.
see you.
Looking forward to it. And we're going to talk a bit about business because it's so important, especially after January. And if you survived Christmas, got a lot of stuff to pay for, but not probably income. Richard, you got some ideas how you deal with that, right?
Yeah, business is seasonal, isn't it? So summer, everybody's out, they're spending money, they're going on holidays, etc. Spending's up. And as then we get closer to Christmas, again, people are still spending lots of money. They've got Christmas coming up, they're buying presents, they may be, going away, they're having Christmas parties, all of this sort of stuff. Come January, this is why we have the January sales, isn't it? Because businesses are suffering, then people are like, they haven't got so much money in their pocket. For us, January, I've got a few businesses. The service accommodation business, January is always the worst month of the year. It's very, very flat. People don't want to go away for nice weekends and breaks.
Can I just break that up? So when we talk about service accommodation, generally we're talking about businesses where people are doing nightly rents from you, and therefore people doing it via Airbnb, etc., etc. That's what Richard means.
That's right. Yeah. And then my other business, Awaken to Business, which is where we're helping people by outsourcing. We're giving them teams of people that can do the admin and various different things within their business. Well, we're invoicing them in January for what they've done in December. December is a very short month. Okay, so people are only working 3 weeks generally, maybe less than that. So invoicing is always down for us in December. We come back in the new year, people have got invoices from December and they may be lower than they normally are, but they're still struggling to pay them. This year we didn't go back till the 5th of January. So they're not getting out on the 1st, they're getting out late. So cash flow is all a challenge for us in our business, and different challenges for different businesses. So I think it's really important that you plan for these things, and that you've got the reserves to help you through the more difficult times. And then what do you do when there is less work around? You have to find other things that you can do. Find other things that you can do with your team. So put into place the systems that the rest of the year you're too busy doing, systemizing things, dealing with, doing housework on your business, the things that you don't normally get round to doing because you're too busy. And then when you get through that patch, then you're fitter, you're leaner, you're stronger, and you're ready to get going for the rest of the year.
So it's very industry specific because with the industry I'm in, accountancy tax, our busiest time is December, January, and a lot of all-nighters, sunrises, how we're done. So I don't know how if I've got any bags on eyes, that's why. Apparently we can get replaced by AI, as my post was today. But it's really good how you summarize. You said when the lean times are in your business, focus on business improvement. That's the message Richard is saying.
Absolutely.
That will help you reduce costs in the long term and make you more efficient and therefore more profitable. So maximize the timings of the seasons depending on your business. When you're not busy, if you're doing service accommodation, January is a good time, February maybe, you won't have revenue. So you've got to improve your costs, which are going to help you spread over 12 months and give you huge benefits. Is that a fair summary?
Absolutely, that is it. And service accommodation, that's a good time to get the paintbrush out, isn't it? Go and start when the properties aren't, you've got vacancies, then go out there and get them into a nice, good state. Maybe, get some new furniture so that then when you start getting busy again, it's a property that people want to stay.
Do you feel, good point on that, for anyone who's doing service accommodation, Richard's got a lot of insight, expertise on this. In the UK economy, people have got a bit of doom and gloom at the moment on a number of things without getting political on this. Do you feel in 2026 service accommodation still be a good property strategy to do?
Absolutely. Service accommodation is still a good practice. People
Why? What do you
people, people like doom and gloom. Okay, they like having something to complain of or somebody to complain of. The reality is that for every downturn, there's an opportunity. Okay, so look for the opportunity instead of complaining about what's going wrong. And service accommodation, over the years, it's got more and more competitive. But if you do it well, and you run it as a business rather than a hobby, there's massive opportunity within serviced accommodation. I spend about half a day a week on my property business because I've got a team that are doing this stuff. They're doing all the day-to-day stuff. It's a not well-oiled machine. It's highly efficient. Requires very little of my time, but they know exactly what they're doing, highly polished, and we get, apart from January, 90% plus occupancy rates because we know how to do it.
Well, and most people, when you're doing service accommodation business, you're probably lucky to sometimes get 60-70% depending on location occupancy. That's how many nights it's rented out for. Richard is saying he gets 90% because he's got systems, he knows how to market and make sure it's profitable, which is the big one. Because I've seen a lot of people with service accommodation businesses, they are what we call busy fools. Because they're running around, great, I got cash, but how much money have I got left in my bank account? If it's hardly anything, you are a busy fool. Relook at your pricing, relook at whether that property strategy is working and the quality of content, i.e. your accommodation is up to the right level, because that's the only variable factor when it comes to pricing, in my opinion.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Rate management is absolutely crucial. And, see, with serviced accommodation, you're not selling rooms. You are selling rooms or spaces, apartments, whatever, but you're also selling taxis, airport transfers, luggage storage, travel costs, chefs coming round to cook meals. There's all sorts of things that you're selling.
Do you know how I like to summarize that?
Yeah.
You're selling an experience.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. Any business where it's service provided, it's not just buying the goods. Even goods is too close. The differential, it's the service. People remember how you made them feel. If you don't put that into your business and make sure you maximize that benefit, you won't get repeat business and you will not be profitable because you'll be evaluated on price. People pay for an experience. That's how you charge premiums. If that experience is no good, you're competing on price, and that's never no good. Is that fair to say?
That is absolutely, couldn't have said it myself. Yeah.
Richard is adding huge value. If you're doing service accommodation, watch this video. You'll see this coming on the socials and add value. Maybe reach out to him. That's Albans Property Meet. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks
Thank
very
you,
much.
adding value.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Got our second guest today, and we obviously spoken to Mary before, and she went viral last time. Added huge value. Mary, thank you so much. Adding so much value. We love talking to entrepreneurs and understand their journey. And Mary's going to talk about, last time she was talking about her trading business. This time we're going to focus a bit on her property business. You've obviously been investing in property. It's been very beneficial to you. What are the key things that, first of all, made you feel like property was it? Because you mentioned last time about your dad.
Absolutely.
Please share that with the audience to see why you got into property.
I was taught from a very early age that bricks and mortar was the best thing. It is very. I think it's difficult to get into it if you want to buy each one of those bricks and you build yourself a fortress, a financial fortress. I started doing that. Around about the 1990s.
Did you start with like buy-to-lets? Is that what you started with, or did you go into
First buy-to-let, and that was done around about 1990.
Wow.
Or in between 1990 and 95.
When
But that was the
that was a heyday a bit of the buy-to-lets.
first property that was bought to be let out. So,
And then what did you do after that? You did buy-to-lets, then you moved on to more advanced strategies because times change. Was it HMOs you were working on too? Or?
I've got HMOs, but mostly single lets. So I at this stage do not do serviced accommodation.
Right.
So and then I chose an area, and I remember getting that property bug that I just wanted to have. I wanted a portfolio, and I thought the best thing to do is choose an area and then really get to know the area. So for me, I looked at a map, and I can remember thinking I didn't want it to be really any more than an hour away. So I went and looked at. I went and looked around, and I settled with Bedford, and I love Bedford. Bedford is a small market town, and it's like white collar workers. You know, they're ordinary folk who are looking for quite ordinary places to live. So I focused on that. I got to know a lot of the agents in the area. I got to know the roads that I liked, and by hook and by crook, I spent the next couple of years producing a portfolio.
So really good advice there. Mary's told you how the journey, how she's done it, which still works today. The property strategies might change, but the sourcing strategy hasn't. Understand your area, understand it really well, because then you buy well. Because the money's made on when you buy, right?
Yeah.
Still the case now.
True. Just to add to your comment, it's so funny how generation after generation the rules really don't change. Okay, so I was always told that if you are in close proximity to a station and to shops and ideally schools,
Schools are big.
you should never have a problem in letting your accommodation. Okay.
It depends on property strategy, right?
Yeah.
Buy to lets
Yeah.
and maybe HMOs, but when you start looking at certain ones like universities where
Okay.
they have different strategies, so it really depends on the strategy. But you're right, longer term value,
Yeah.
location is so important.
I totally accept that. I really do. And I think we're in a room today full of people that do properties in their own way. You've just spoken to Richard, and he does serviced accommodation. And I genuinely will tell you he does it incredibly well. Okay. And he's well supported with a team that help him. But I see the amount of effort that takes. What I do is they're like single lets. So the property has to be presented in a really nice way. Today I was viewing one of our properties, and the very first person that came wanted to take it at the full asking
And this was a buy to let.
price. This is a buy to let.
And are you selling the property or renting out? Renting.
out.
So you're buying, holding, obviously,
That's-
longer term.
I was very fortunate because I think I I wanted to do it a long time ago, and I understood that I was really buying my pension.
Wow.
Okay. And then it's your work or your business or something like that generates the income and funds it.
It does.
That really is, that's how I see it. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have done that property as their pension, but the problem now is a lot of the tax rules. Also, one of the biggest issues I've seen, and I don't know if you come across this, we were talking off air about this, is that the passing of this property's legacy. Because a lot of people concentrate building their own income and wealth, but unless you want to leave it for the government, someone called HMRC, you need to think about how you're going to pass that on, and is it going to survive one generation? Because a lot of times it doesn't survive one generation. When you were starting, you probably weren't thinking about this. Have you thought about this right now around legacy?
Of course. So I'm very lucky that I do have children.
Yeah.
And I have an extended family of brothers and sisters and their families. So that is quite honestly an important discussion to have.
Have you actually put plans or actually started to think how you're going to do it?
Do you know, it has been a conversation, okay, but I haven't physically done it.
I think this is quite common, especially in the property world, because before the thresholds, for example, something called the inheritance tax nil rate ban was 325,000, and your main house another 175. That was a lot, but it's not changed since 2009 because they have used inflation to erode that. Now it's a big problem because 40% above those thresholds you're going to get hit depending on your estate. That's a big problem. And if you haven't planned for it, and also you haven't educated the children how to run it, that's the other problem. So my tax tips are, make sure you get an inheritance tax plan from someone who actually knows what they're talking about. I emphasize AI doesn't cut it because it won't defend you in court, just to let you know. And number two, really important, get the children involved, because if they are not involved, it will not survive one generation.
I know.
I'll give you a big example. Something unfortunately people have had or might had is divorce. If you don't structure it right, you're building it for someone who didn't want to have it. That's the one. Number two, if they don't know what you've done, and value it and understand the graph that you put in and what it means, they will liquidate it as soon as it comes. Oh, it's too much hassle. Mum and dad did this, can't be bothered with it. And what happens? Not only will they pay inheritance tax potentially, they will pay capital gains tax as well on the uplift post passing. So there's a lot of impacts. And this is what happens is ultimately they may not make no money. So your lifetime of work has disappeared. Is there solutions? Yes. But you've got to plan them very early and do them as soon as possible because it will take a number of years. So I'll give you an example. You bought properties in the 1990s. They're probably doubled or tripled since then. Yeah, because every 10 years they go up. And the problem with that is the brands haven't gone up as well. So that uplift, less mortgage. So whatever the value of the property is today, less mortgage on it, that's your inheritance tax bill times 40%. So if I somehow built up, there'll be clients here built up multi-million pound portfolios. Let's say I bought a £2 million portfolio. The mortgage on it is, believe it or not, 1 million. So I've got a loan to value 50%. That 50% is likely to be potentially up to 40%. So that's 400,000 your children are going to have to pay in 6 months, or the government are going to come asking, if you're not going to do it, we'll sell it on your behalf and sell it for whatever sale price it is, like a fire sale. That is painful. And people talk about them being lenient. In my experience, being an accountant tax advisor, good luck with them being lenient. They want their money with interest after 6 months, because that's how long probate they give you. So get the planning, don't leave it. And I've got a really viral post on this where we had a family who came with a £13 million portfolio. Right, they built it in London, and because of their faith, they'd cleared all the debt off. What was the inheritance tax on 30 million? 12 million. So they now have to go in debt, borrow at least £1 million to pay the 12 million because they didn't have the properties, and now all our hard work is gone. And so planning, please go and get advice, do research on it and implement. And that's what, Mary, you probably have to do on some of your work. Get that done, because otherwise you're working for who? Not your family.
I know. No.
Was that useful? Has that been good
Very
advice for you to think about things?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your journey.
Thank you.
So Albans Property Mate. We got another guest today, Connor, first time newbie as well, and he's had the guts to get on camera. So big ups for that one. Connor, you were saying about you started a new networking, or you've revised or refurbishing a networking event, or revitalizing should be the right word, in Hitchin. Is that right?
That's right.
Tell us a bit about the event, because people love hearing about all the different events going on for property entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so it's the first Thursday of every month, and it's in Gravely, very close to our area, which is Hitchin. It's on Eventbrite if you wanted to look into
What's
it.
the location, actual place, the venue?
Chesterfield Downs in Gravely.
Is there parking there?
There's free parking. There's a bar, so you're welcome to get drinks. It's from 6 till 9 p.m. We've got a network there already, so we have a bit of a turnaround, but we're looking to boost the numbers, take ideas, make improvements, and grow a good network.
So important, and it comes back to people like Connor and others. I think your co-business partner Sanjay, you were saying,
Yeah.
who's a property
Hosting
investor,
it with us.
and you're obviously in letting, so
We go hand in hand.
So you know a lot about property.
Yeah.
Do you focus more on residential or do commercial as well?
So I'm residential because letting agent.
Yeah.
But Sanjay, who is the co-host of the networking, he actually does a lot of commercial.
Wow. Does he
And-
do commercial resi?
He does both, yeah. He's very experienced in almost everything you can imagine because he's been doing it for a very, very long time.
Wow.
But he's also, we intend to have speakers, not every single month. Some months it will just be open networking, but some months we will have a speaker. And one of our speakers, I won't say the name at the moment, but is an expert in commercial property. So it will be very, very useful for a lot of people that are interested in that. Specifically Sanjay, hence why he wanted to have that person come to speak, is because he thinks it will be very useful. So I'm sure it'll be useful for lots of other
It'll be
people as
interesting
well.
because I've been fortunate, humble enough to know most of the experts in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So I'll have a chat.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, no, that's excellent. So you're helping entrepreneurs to get together,
Yep.
understood about commercial resi. If anyone wants to see the best way to structure that business, I did a masterclass in Birmingham for a gentleman called Sad Hussain, who's also quite famous in property, about a commercial resi conversion. Huge. Also, we've done it with someone else who's quite famous, I call him the king of commercial bocce, Ranjan Bhattacharya. Go and check that stuff all on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. A lot of it, and they love their commercials as well as residential. Knowledge is so important, as you will know.
Yep.
Transferring knowledge, making sure you not only try to make money, you keep money. A lot of different challenges between the different property strategies.
Yeah.
Talk about Resi, which is the one that you focus on. What is the biggest property issues that people are having? Why they need good letting agents and a good network?
At the moment, I would have to say it's got to be the new laws that are coming in.
The Renter Reform Act.
The Renter Reform Act.
Oh, I swore, sorry. Go on.
It's scarier. It's not as scary as it sounds. A lot of newspapers make it sound really, really scary. But if you have the right knowledge, or if you don't have the right knowledge, then you can get a letting agent to do it for you. But as long as you know how to overcome the challenges that are coming with the new legislation changes, you really have nothing to worry about. And if you don't have the knowledge, then you need a great letting agent to take over those responsibilities for you to make sure you're ahead of the game and still making good profit.
Let's put a good summary there. For me, key things from that, and I know Connor will correct me if I get something wrong. Section 21, no fault
No more.
eviction, gone. No longer fixed tenancies, continuous tenancies, huge. And you'll see that we talked about this before. People like Connor will help you on that, because if you don't structure, get the right people in, the right checks, and Connor will add to this, if you don't get them in with the right contracts and get the things, you're going to end up feeling a lot of pain and having a lot of people not paying you rent. Connor, have I covered that? Is there any other additionals that I missed there?
It goes well beyond referencing. Someone can look perfect on paper,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that once they're in your property, that they're going to look after it and they're going to continue to pay the rent.
That's it.
Things happen, and you need to make sure that now more than ever, you're finding the right tenants for your property so that they look after it for the long term.
Well, amazing. And he was a newbie on this one. He's got a huge event happening there. I'll drop him and connect you on LinkedIn and all the rest socials. I have him tag in. So if you ever want to go to multiple events in Hertfordshire, I'm still part of Hertfordshire, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, Bedfordshire.
it is,
Always
it is.
on the board.
It's Hertfordshire, it's Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire, just get that right. These are the things, and a lot of people reach out to me about this. So we're so humbled to have another person from another network coming to this event. So thank you, Connor. Thank you for adding insight.
Thank you for having me.
Albans Property Meet. We've got another new guest in Albans Property Meet. We've got Marta. Hi, Marta. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And Marta's going to give us a bit of a journey. You've come originally from Colombia. You've been in the UK 20 years?
Yes,
Wow. This is what the entrepreneur story is about. So you're in employment and you've got a trading business. You talked about in beauty care products?
Yes, I have my own company. It's organic skincare, and mine is unlimited. It's a project that I jumped since 2020.
And what you've done is to help generate some money as well as your employment.
Yes.
And one of the key things you want to do is build wealth, right?
Yes.
And what I mean by wealth, invest in property.
Yes.
Because we love property entrepreneurs.
Yes, I love what I love as an entrepreneur. I love to explore new adventure. Take risk, because if you don't explore, you don't know what will be in the other side of the road. So this is a very exciting project, which is become a big opportunity. Then you can try yourself as well.
So which key property strategy are you looking at? Are you looking to buy to let, HMO,
I will
service
keep
accommodation?
sell accommodation. I will
Service
sell
accommodation?
service accommodation.
So are you going to buy it or are you going to do it rent to rent or rent to SA?
Rent to rent.
Technically rent to service accommodation is slightly different to rent, but yeah. So you're going to get landlords, they're going to get the property from them, pay a fixed price,
Yes.
and then do a nightly rent.
Perfect.
Is there any area that you're looking at?
Yes, I already picked my niche, which is like Bedfordshire,
Bedfordshire.
Dunstable,
In Bedford or just a county
in
Bedford?
Bedford, County Bedford.
Oh, right.
General, yes.
And also Luton you're looking at.
Luton, Dunstable, and why not Hatfield? Because we also had the university there,
University, Hertfordshire University.
and Luton
Right.
University as well.
Wow. So you're looking at student accommodation to
Yeah,
drive it.
yes.
You're looking at more service accommodation where there's high demand.
Yes,
Wow. So that's a great property strategy. We talked about it with Richard. So this is what I'm talking about, multiple entrepreneur, multiple businesses. So currently you got a job, you got one trading business, and you're going to park your investment. Yeah,
Yes,
property.
yeah.
So my suggestion, putting the accountancy tax advisor hat on. Right. So to structure this is so important because employment income is taxed at the highest rate generally. So what you want to do is our friend pensions. Maybe set up a SIP, invest money from your staff into a SIP. If you need any advice, always get financial advice from a financial advisor. But from a tax and cash flow, it could reduce your taxation. Then you can use that money potentially if you set up a limited company and you can loan money from the pension. So it's a good strategy. We've got videos I did on Sky TV, on YouTube. Watch them. Knowledge is power.
Yes.
It will give you huge knowledge how to keep tax,
Yes.
the tax to work for you and build your wealth.
Okay.
Because time goes so quickly.
Yeah.
And when you're working hard and you've got multiple investments, you've got to do it in a smart way. Another way is where you've got your limited company that's trading. For more advice for the people is loan from the trading to the investment. It's better to have a group structure, but that can be done later when you build some wealth, because the loan ultimately does need to be paid unless you've got a group structure in place. But what you can then do is not pay personal tax, because when you take money out of a company into your own name,
Yes.
you end up paying personal tax, either
tax.
dividends or salary,
Yeah.
and there's a whole lot of write-offs. I've done a video how you pull out a lot of money from companies tax efficiently. So there's different ways of doing this. This will boost how you get financing, how to be tax efficient and build your wealth. Also, another thing is, depending on who you're going to leave the money, we're talking to Mary about this, is something around structuring for inheritance tax.
Okay.
Very important to think about family investment companies. We've got a video on YouTube. Check that out. There's me talking to a live audience about that.
Okay.
I know it's a lot,
Yes.
but structuring this, because there's two major leakages. Do you know what they are?
I'm not familiar yet, but I'm willing
When you lose money, one is inflation.
Yeah.
No, when they print money, which they're doing.
Yeah.
And number two is tax.
Yes.
So you've got to manage those two. That's how you build wealth quicker on steroids. That's what you got to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that
Has that
makes
been
sense.
useful?
Yes.
And next steps, you're looking for obviously property deals, people, landlords who are giving in those areas. So I'm going to tag in Marta. If you're a landlord, a tired landlord, you want to get in contact with Marta in those areas she mentioned, she'll be in touch. So I will tag her in and you can connect with her. We'll tag her in LinkedIn and we'll go from there. Say Albans to me. Marta, enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the evening.